We'll call the January 30th, 2025 meeting of the Redevelopment Commission to order. We've already done the oaths of office. So next item on the agenda would be election of president. Do I have any nominations for president?
I nominate Dennis Jordan to serve as president.
Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, we'll close nominations. A motion to appoint would be appropriate.
I second that.
Motion to appoint Dennis Jordan as president. Mr. Volker, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Horvath
Aye.
and Mr. Jordan.
Aye.
Motion carries. It is now your meeting, Mr. President.
Thank you. We are going to wait till our February meeting to elect the vice president and secretary simply because we'd like all 5 members here to make the selection. But we need a president to run the meeting today, so thank you, everyone. We would like to approve the December 10th minutes from our meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
So moved.
Second? Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Volker,
Yes.
Mr. Horvath.
Aye.
And Mr. Jordan.
Yes.
Hey, Mark, can we have you pull the microphone maybe a little closer?
Sure.
Yeah, it's either that or my ears are just really clogged up, so
That fine.
perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Stacy, is that okay?
And then in a similar manner, can we approve the December 17th special meeting minutes? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second it, Mark.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Volker,
Yes.
Mr. Horvath,
Aye.
and Mr. Jordan.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, commissioners, in your packet, you have the monthly financial report for the month of December showing where we ended up with account balances for the year, the transactions for the month of December, as well as the list of open POs as it was on December 31st. And I'm happy to answer any questions on any of those reports.
And again, just because I had asked it privately, the old POs will eventually be spent.
Yes,
So we'll see some that are more than a year old. Those are still valid open POs for work to be completed.
they are.
Any other questions, comments?
Also, included in your packet is the accounting for the Samsung bonds and where we are on those. And this report, I will say, comes from the auditor's office. Their accounting gets sent to us every month, so we will be including that in packets moving forward. And then have a review of our first appropriation request for 2025. If you could click on screen. All right. All right, included in your packets now, a copy of this PowerPoint presentation. You can see that TIF revenue by fund by year. And then distributions by year. So, we get our settlements twice a year. So after the spring and fall taxes are collected, then the auditor's office makes the determination on how much each of the underlying taxing units get, and we get that dispersed usually in June and December. So this shows those payments tracking across time. This chart shows a comparison between what we expected to receive and what we actually received. A component of this is that personal property is self-reported. So it's more of an estimate on the few that are designated taxpayers that pay that personal property. Highlights, you can see in TIF revenue in 2024, we received $5,367,290. In 2025, we are projected to receive just a little bit less than that because of some prunings and changings with some of the EDAs this year. Or this past year. We have a cash on hand of about 14 million. And remaining open right now, we have about 1.4 million in POs, giving us a total available of about 18 million. This appropriation request is asking for 13 million plus an additional, I do apologize, that slide does say reappropriation of AWS reimbursement 3 million. This week, we did receive on Tuesday our latest reimbursement request that we had filed in December for a little over $5 million. So that was added. We're actually appropriating 8.4 million in reimbursements today because that did come in this week. So in the wide economic development area, we had an ending cash balance of 284,320 with 43,000 encumbered in POs. And we're expected to get about 34,000 this year from the TIF. So that gives us 275,000 available. Ask that 50,000 be put in consultants and contractual and the rest in economic development. New Carlisle Economic Development Area 1 ended with about 4.4 million cash on hand and expected revenue of 1.7 million, leaving us about 6 million available. Also received 3.3 million this week in Amazon reimbursements to add to that as well. So you can see it from here, we're paying some principal and debt on some of the bonds and then just our regular cash flow for the IEC work. Similar in IEC Economic Development Area number 2, we had about 4.1 million plus the reimbursement we received this week of 2 million. So again, we have some debt payments on bonds, as well as this fund pays the double track bond, which we will see that we're transferring the money to that fund, and then we'll need to appropriate the money in that fund to pay the double track bond. Can you click back on the screen, please? All right. Economic Development Area 3. This was a new EDA last year. So this is the first time we've collected increment on that. So last year there was a 0 starting balance, and this year we're projected to receive 105,000. Similarly to when we appropriated an estimated 30,000 last year and we did not get it, none was spent. So we will wait until at least the June disbursement to see what kind of revenue we're getting in here before we expend any of this money. And then same with 4, just GM Flex Fund has $1 million in it. It still has $1 million in it. This is the fund that we need to keep open. AM General have a 1.3 million available and asking to appropriate 950,000. I will mention that this EDA is providing the local match for 3 rail related grants. The 21 raise grant that Patriot Rail got, their work is expected to begin in a couple months. On the St. Joseph County side, they finished the Elkhart County side first. And then the rail crossing elimination grant and the Capitol Avenue corridor planning grant are included in here. Northwest Cleveland, we have 1.2 million roughly to appropriate. I will note that the larger number, the 750,000, is part of the original development agreement for that area to redo some of the road work, and that is supposed to go to bid in February. Solar Economic Development Area number 1. We had 13,000 cash on hand at the end of the year, expected to get about 58,000. So we'll have 71,000 cash on hand, asking for 65,000. In the general fund. We have just a little under 4 million available. And asking to appropriate 3,521,000. This new Carlisle special taxing district, this is the double track. So we have our debt service of 270,938, which we need appropriated from that. This county sheriff fee is new. It is part of the AWS Community Enhancement Agreement. They make a one-time payment of 120,000 to put in a fund that the sheriff's department can use to pay their officers on overtime to do traffic control out in the IUC area. We've met with the sheriff's department, and this runs a lot like their grants that they'll do. They'll submit to us timesheets when they are have officers out there, and then we'll release the funds through the auditor's office for them to be able to be reimbursed for that overtime.
So they had no overtime? No.
This is the first time that they will have access to this fund is this year. We got it, I believe in November of last year, October or November of last year, and they did not avail. We're really bringing this project online this year. So we've got that plan going with the sheriff.
So we're not going to reimburse the funds that they've already spent out there? Because I know they've been patrolling.
Yeah, so the council towards the end of last year allocated funds, and that was the end of the council's funding.
So this,
And then we were gonna pick it up from
Okay.
that point, so.
I just knew that they had
Yep.
incurred costs. I want to make sure they reimbursed.
Yep.
And it's a max of 120.
Yeah, and so the way the 120 was figured out was the 120 split in half is to cover 2 years, so about 60,000 a year. And the sheriff's office gave us a breakdown of how many hours a week at and it's not full 8-hour days. It's like 4-hour days at 7 days a week and on and on and on. And so the math worked out to about $60,000 a year is what they estimated they would need to do road service and road patrol out in the IUC over the next 2 years. Now, if we find that we have more of a need and we have some needs that, I mean, the sheriff's office has been great to work with. So we may find that some of that money gets spent faster. So it's not hard and fast that it's 60 a year. So if they end up spending 80 this year and 40 next year or something like that, as long as it balances within that 120,000. So.
Happy to answer any other questions on that. Otherwise, there is resolution 2025-01, which would be the resolution codifying what is in this presentation to go to the auditor's office so that they can do what they do to move the funds around.
And Frank, just as a clarification, you're asking them to approve the one that was circulated today.
Yes,
And if you just want to make note of where that changes from the other.
yes. There is under 2B and 2C, there were additions today that would be in B, 2,089,891 for that Amazon reimbursement into that fund. And under C, 3,381,173 was received from that we would like to add to that. The rest of the resolution is the same as what was circulated.
Are there any questions for Mr. Potia? Is there a motion to approve resolution number 2025-01?
So moved.
Second? Aye, Mark Volker.
We have a motion and a second, Mr. Volker,
Yes, aye.
Mr. Horvath,
Aye.
Mr. Jordan.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
So after we've taken care of the budget, the next thing we'll do is we'll move down to the New Carlisle Economic Development area. First thing we have on the agenda is a professional service agreement for an on-call service agreement with Christopher Burke Engineering. This would be the second on-call agreement we've done with Christopher Burke. This is for services outside of the work that they do relative to management to the IEC project. So this will help with some house demolition work. This will help with some other environmental work. We've got some work that they do related to wetlands and some of the aquifer monitoring stuff that they do, hydrology stuff. So this is kind of outside of that contract. We have right now two different firms. We have on-call agreements with Lawson Fisher Associates and Christopher Burke. We cap these at 75,000, and we just ask for your approval for on-call agreement number 2, please.
And Mr. Volker, we do these just because it's easier than every month submitting a new payment request in a budget item. It's worked well in the past.
Yeah, I guess maybe just as a little further note. So if you approve this today, there's a pot of $75,000 for every project that we draw down against that. There's a task summary sheet that we approve. So there's a tracking of where that 75,000 goes. And so, we have the ability to monitor those projects and monitor that account. So it's spent on very specific projects along the way.
Any other questions? Is there a motion to approve the on-call agreement?
So moved.
Second? So second it.
We have a motion and a second, Mr. Volker,
Aye.
Mr. Horvath,
Aye.
Mr. Jordan.
Yes.
Motion carries.
We have two requests to advertise. So we have two projects coming up in the IEC. One that will open in February. The other one will open in March. The first project is the Fillmore Road Water Tower project. That'll be a project that would open on February 18th at our next meeting. And the Fillmore Road Water Project, we'd like to enter or advertise with the Mishawaka Enterprise and the South Bend Tribune. Those advertisement dates would be the 30th and 31st for the first advertising, the 6th and the 7th for the second set of advertising dates. So we'd ask for your approval to advertise. I would note that the Board of Commissioners, who this project is also going to run through, have already approved these advertisements. So we just ask for your approval of the advertisement dates also, please.
Are we contacting people outside the area who build water towers since they're?
Yeah,
Not
so
as frequent.
as I understand, there's 4 different firms that are qualified to build. We're looking to build a 1.25 million gallon water tower, and there's approximately 4 firms that are in the market to be able to do that. And all 4 will likely, 4 or 3 of the 4 will likely be the bidders on this project.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a motion to approve the request to advertise? I so motion it.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, Mr. Volker,
Aye.
Mr. Horvath,
Aye.
and Mr. Jordan.
Aye.
Motion carries.
The next project is the Edison Road Sewer Project. The Edison Road Sewer Project is a sewer project from Larison Road to Smilax and up Smilax Road to the lift station on Smilax that's under construction presently. This sewer will replace an existing sewer in that area that's undersized and doesn't meet the demands that we currently have in the project area. So what we'd again like to do is advertise on the 6th and the 7th, and then the 13th and the 18th. This project, however, won't be opened until March 18th. To allow bidders time to review the project and submit bids. So we'd ask for your approval of this request to advertise, please.
And the commissioners approved this as well.
They did, yes, at their meeting on Tuesday. Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve? So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, Mr. Volker,
Aye.
Mr. Horvath,
Aye.
Mr. Jordan.
Aye.
Motion carries.
The next item on the agreement or next item on the agenda is the access agreement. This is an access agreement to use redevelopment commission owned property at the southeast corner of Larison and Fillmore Road. Brightspeed is a fiber provider, a telecommunications company that has fiber and telecommunications equipment in the IC area, generally connecting from the town area down all the way through North Liberty, Walkerton, and this whole western side of the county. Brightspeed has been a great partner as we've worked. It seems like every road or every project we've done has their fiber in it somewhere, and they've had to move it. And they're being asked to move it again. In this particular case, as we move sewer and put new sewer in along Fillmore Road, their fiber is in the way. As we do an intersection improvement at Fillmore and Larison, their fiber is in the way. So what they're doing on a short-term basis until we get projects complete is taking their underground fiber and putting it on aerial poles and going aerial on new AEP power lines that are being put in. Need to get across the intersection, so need to get from the west side of the road to the east side of the road to have their fiber, and then their fiber will then go back underground and service their network. This access agreement is for a period of time, will terminate on February 1st, 2026. We believe by then we'll have the intersection done, all the utilities in place, and so that choice or that broadband or Brightspeed can have their facilities in the final location. Again, the commission owns the property at the southeast corner. What we're looking to do, there's actually a little drawing in the last part of the packet. They're just looking to use a little bit of the property at the very corner of the property. Won't cause any impact on the site. We're fully in support of this and ask for your approval of this access agreement, please. Phil, anything I left off?
No, I think when, after this is done, when it goes in permanently, their easement will be put on a plat. And that'll be done through the plat, so.
Yeah.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second, Mr. Volker,
Aye.
Mr. Horvath,
Aye.
Mr. Jordan.
Aye.
Motion.
We're gonna skip down to the Wyatt Economic Development Area.
Stacy, can you pull that PowerPoint back up, please?
Yeah.
Yes.
So last year, and last year we realized we had funds in the Wyatt EDA that we just didn't know. We didn't really have a project, that we didn't really have a use for some of the funds. We're trying to wind down the area. The original reason the project area was created was to create a sewer facility out in the Wyatt area. And so the TIF area was created to generate funds to pay off a bond. We were in a position last year where we had some funds, but we had a couple of projects that were coming to Wyatt. And we haven't done a lot with Wyatt. If you don't know much about Wyatt, it's you drive along it in 331 and you're through it. And the Beef and Brew is one of those, places that everybody kind of knows where it is. And so we thought, well, gosh, maybe we've got some funds, maybe we could do something different. We've never done kind of a facade or a facility or site enhancement type program. So Terry, who's not here today because he's fighting a plague like the rest of us here. Terry worked with the Madison Township Board and some of the business owners and put together a little $50,000 kind of facade program. Madison Township adopted the program, thought it should be a 50-50 program. So you had to come with 50% of the funds. You couldn't receive more than $5,000 in the grant. At this point in time, there's a listing in I believe in the packet of all the different businesses that receive funds. So, some of these things that got funded, there's some facade stuff, there was some facility stuff like roofs and things like that. So it was kind of a different program and something we may do again. Terry wanted to highlight though the Beef and Brew. If you look at the before picture and then you compare it to the after picture, You know, they've given it a little fresh front, and the restaurant's doing very well. And so it's just one of these opportunities that, you know, this little program, you know, created with these extra funds in the TIF district, you know, help this business and has helped some others. There's a bakery that's going to go in across the street. So that's kind of a neat little feature. So, you know, just again, kind of highlighting different ways the redevelopment commission gets involved in areas where we don't typically do a lot of things. So this is, and Frank, earlier in the budget, I think we have 250,000 that we've got to spend down. So there's an opportunity that we'll look at this year to extend fiber towards Wyatt. So just trying to get them some broadband in that area. So, you know, some different things that we're looking to do to try to improve quality of life. So I applaud Terry and his work on that, and Frank for his creativity and helping find the funding to make it work. So again, just a good little project we wanted to highlight as we kind of close out the year. So with that, there's nothing left in any of the other development areas. And I would note, just before we close, the February 18th meeting, we've asked that it be scheduled at 8 o'clock. We have a park board, kind of a project we're going to bring through you and the park board. Both boards meet at 9. We flipped a quarter. We went early. They're going to go late. So they're going to meet at 10 and we're going to meet at 8. And so I appreciate your flexibility with that. So.
Will there be donuts?
Yes, there will be donuts. That's the rule of 8 o'clock meetings. There's always donuts. So Mark, I like that. That'll be written into the bylaws. So.
We're gonna have to do this more often. All right. Okay, we move to the public comment portion of the meeting. If anyone would like to speak, you have a 3-minute limit. Just come to the podium and say your name and address. Seeing no one in the audience, is there anyone online who'd like to speak? Seeing none there either. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I will make that motion.
I second it.
Motion is second, Mr. Volker,
Aye.
Mr. Horvath,
Aye.
Mr. Jordan.
Aye.
We are.
No, comment.
When's the next Shore meeting?